Hello, everybody.
Hey, Bill.
Hello.
Oh,
I see that is Commissioner Parker, are you with us?
He was here a minute ago.
Got Steve Skinner in the house tonight.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, guys.
Hey.
Oh, we got Commissioner Parker there. You hear us okay, Commissioner Parker?
Do what?
You hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. And then I got Commissioner Bartleman. You good,
Here.
Commissioner Bartleman? Okay, and Commissioner Jones.
I'm here.
All right. All right. And see, we've got our clerk there. See the top of her head and all her accolades behind her, at least. We got County Attorney, Assistant County Attorney Skinner here with us for the meeting. All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's about 5:02, May 11, 2020. Let's see, do we have our clerk?
Yes. You have a clerk.
Okay, all right. All right, then, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Parker,
Present.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Bartleman,
Here.
Judge Clymer.
Here. All right, then, Commissioner Bartleman, will you offer a prayer, please?
Sure will. Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for the blessings of this day. We thank you for the opportunity we have to serve you. We pray for all those on the front lines of fighting the coronavirus. We just pray you be with them and give them safety as they treat those who are ill. Father, we're thankful for our first responders out there who are providing a vital service for this community. And we just pray that they continue to be safe as they provide that service. Father, we just ask you to be with us as we make decisions to make this county better than what it is. Father, we're so thankful for what you do for us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Man.
All right, and stand and join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
United States of America,
and to the republic
Stand
for which it stands,
which is
one nation,
under God.
under
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
All right, and first on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, that's approved. And we got budget transfer, Madam Clerk.
It is ordered that the necessary cash transfers in the amount of $354,000 be made in order to pay county bills and payroll approved May 11th, 2020.
So moved.
Oh, my.
Or second.
Motion's in a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Accounts payable.
It is ordered to approve the voucher claims register from April 27th, 2020 to May 11th, 2020 to show county bills in the amount of $539,801.82 were paid.
So made.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right, then, on the discussion, got a discussion item, the salary of deputy jailer. Order there. Let's see, we've got a,
I'll make a motion, just maybe we can get up here to talk about it.
It says we're not going to be voted on tonight, so we're just going to discuss it. We don't need to make a motion.
Okay. Everybody was quiet. I thought maybe that's what they was waiting on.
and so
Is this a new position?
In the maintenance line item, yes, sir, it is.
it's as I understand it, it's there's an opening in the maintenance department that's needing to be filled. And there's some discussion as to what the pay rate should be. We've got the jailer on board with us tonight to discuss what he wants. That'd probably be the best place to start. Can you fill us in every night on what the issue is?
Can you all hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
It's very soft, David.
Not sure what to do.
No, don't have you.
Well, I'm trying.
David, call my cell phone and I'll put you on speakerphone. Go ahead. I think everyone will be able to hear you.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, Judge,
This is not the place. We used to have 3 people and,
Don't hear you now. Very good. Yes.
all right.
all right,
We
we used to have 3 people in maintenance when we had 1 building. Now we have 2 buildings and
one of our current maintenance people
is eligible for retiring.
to get someone up and ready to run that. is just-
I'm having difficulty hearing him. He's breaking up.
6 months to a year.
Do you want me to call in?
You got that you used to have 3, I don't know. You, I guess start over if you would.
We let him call in. Can you just call in without video? I mean, there's a phone number on there so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Got you pretty good now.
You got me
You
now?
got me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what I was saying is the jail had 3 maintenance people at one time when we had 1 building. We have 2 buildings. Currently have one of our maintenance people is ready to retire at any day. I don't know when he's going to retire, but he's been eligible for about 1.5 years. It takes about 6 months to a year to train an individual to fill this spot. there's so many systems and unique environment in that jail that it takes a while to learn it. So I can't just hire somebody the day after. I checked with Pam, and we have the money in our deputy line item for this. Currently, we're about $418,000 under our budget in that line. So my plan was to move some of that money over to the maintenance department until he retires and get a new one trained. Our current maintenance people one of them makes $20.90 something an hour, and the other one makes just under 18 an hour. Fall in line with that, I put this one at $16 an hour, which seemed logical and fair to me. So that was my plan.
And so I had communicated with the jailer last week that there would be some concern in that our courthouse maintenance person had been hired at $12 an hour. I don't know how the two jobs relate. I guess that a person working in that position in the jail would be entitled and deserves some bump for the environment in which you have to work over there. But it would be at 25% above what our courthouse maintenance guy is paid. Of course, that goes across the board then too. And we start out the deputy jailers at, I think, around $12 an hour. And everybody sees these figures and gets some heartburn about why I'm making $12 and somebody brand new is making 16, and so we get those sorts of concerns. So I told the jailer, let's just put it on there, bat it around, see if we got any questions, concerns, and see where we end up. That's how we have to do business. So anybody have any thoughts?
Steve, is this a vacant position in the employees? I know you said we had 3 previously. At some point, was the 3rd position eliminated, or was it just not filled?
Go ahead, David.
I wasn't here back then, so I can't tell you exactly how it was done on paper. I know they never replaced them, so I don't know if it was eliminated on paper or not. It's not currently in the budget. It is, but like I said, I have the money in my deputies line item, just not in the maintenance line item.
Your maintenance line item has about 80,000.
Yes, that covers the 2 that we have now.
Yeah, we've used 81% of that. I guess what you're suggesting is that you saved us money on the deputies expense. And then that does look like you're at 70% there. So you think you're going to come in under on the deputy.
David,
I figured it up and go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I figured it up today, and if we maintain the number of employees and the exact employees we had till the end of the fiscal year, we'd be $418,000 under budget. If I fill every spot that I have between now and the end of the year, which is not going to happen, it just doesn't, we would be at 99,000 under budget.
I guess what concerns me, and I know it might have happened before you were a jailer, but in the past, we've had positions eliminated and department heads use the money for the eliminated positions to give raises. And then they came back and tried to fill positions again. I mean, if something happened before you were jailer, you have no control over that. But that's what concerns me, is that we might have eliminated that position and now we want to come back and recreate it, which may be valid since we have 2 buildings instead of 1. I don't know. That's what my concern is.
And I'm not saying down the road, go ahead.
Yeah, David, you were saying, I guess that's what you're about to say. Down the road, you think one of your maintenance guys is going to retire. Can we not ask that person to give us I guess he's going to retire. He's been there quite some time. Ask him if he would give us a time when he's going to retire, so that, I mean, is it possible that he's not going to retire for a year or two or something like that? The fact that he's eligible to retire, I guess I guess I'll save my comments for if I worked at the jail and I was eligible to retire, what I might do. But is that not a possible solution, that we don't need to act at this point? I understand it takes, you said 6 months to train somebody, but might we be doing this too soon?
I can't answer that. I mean, I don't know that he has a definite date in mind. I know he's been there about 22 years and is eligible, and has mentioned it several times. But since we have the money in the deputies line item, I mean, that seemed the logical thing to do, is to move it. Now, if I need to hire him under a deputies line item, that's fine. This particular gentleman, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This particular gentleman verified with us that we were going to be able to do this, and I made sure that it was within the budget to do this. He has quit his job in Cincinnati, sold his home there, and in the process of buying one here based on the information that he received. You know, he has the experience with the jail and maintenance as well to justify the $16 an hour, whether he was a deputy or maintenance. So either line item we need to come out of is fine, but the money is there. We're not asking for more money, just asking to move it.
Well, we put in, anybody else have anything else? So this fellow has sold his house, anticipating moving here, looking for 1 year. You said somebody, what did you say about somebody said we'd hire him?
Oh, I checked with Pam and made sure we had it in the budget, and it would be all right to move it from one line item to another. And it was my understanding we were going to do that in an amendment to the budget.
Well, I guess as a general principle, it falls back on these hires have to be approved. I think we've run into that a couple of times. I can't remember what the specifics were, but where we have to get the fiscal court to approve the hire before a person's committed to, and they take action such as that. But, so.
Actually, Judge, I mean, I've had this discussion with you before, and I don't mind running things through the fiscal court, but as far as KRS goes, I'm not required to do that. Now, again, I don't mind cooperating in any way we can, so we all work together, but that's not a requirement.
Is there a need for a third maintenance worker?
There's a need to ensure that we're going to have 3. Yes, I could use 3 any day of the week. I have 2 full-time buildings that have separate chiller systems, sewer systems, and yes, we can use 3. If at some point down the road we get back to 2, I want to make sure that I have 2 that are capable of handling the job and not 1.
As the candidate
If
for
any
this
one of those
position,
systems goes,
as a candidate for this position, has he worked in the jail previously?
yes, he has.
And what did he do when he was in the jail?
He worked on the floor as a deputy while he was there, and then he left and went to maintenance, doing construction and maintenance work in Cincinnati, and he's been doing that about the last 6 years.
Well, I hear 2 things, one of which I like, one of which I don't. I like to think, you know, we were at a CAECO training back in February, back when we could do CAECO trainings, and that was one of the suggestions, is making sure that we are doing as much maintenance on our jail in-house as possible. And I could see where that I could see if we don't have an in-house maintenance person who can handle items, we will be paying more money than the salary. So I like that. What concerns me though is the idea that the budget is, well, the budget's not a license to spend it all. You and I both were in the military, and I could always tell when the end of the budget was coming at Fort Campbell because we started paving parking lots, or we started seeing paved. And our budget is just not big enough to just presume that it can be spent. And I guess the way we would have to remedy that as commissioners is we'd have to start amending the budget every 3 months to make sure nobody thought they had too much money. And we don't want to start doing that. That's too much work. But
Steve, I got a question. When we approve the budget and when we approve the salaries in the budget, are we approving a gross amount that the department head can spend any way they want? Or are we approving funding individual positions? I was always the understanding that we approved individual positions.
It's really both. You approve the line item budget amount as well as what each individual employee makes.
But that line item is based on the individual employee, right?
Correct.
So if we have a vacancy for a period of time, not all that money is spent, that doesn't mean there's discretion, or doesn't mean there's discretion. They could use the leftover money to fund other positions or give salary increases.
Correct.
Correct in that they cannot do that?
Correct, and they cannot do that. They cannot shift money or change pay amounts without consent of the fiscal court.
Well, what I heard said a while ago was if there's some statute that I'm not aware of that says that the fiscal court does not have to approve a hire. I guess it's two things: approve a hire and approve the wage at which the person is to be paid if they are hired. Then I would like to quit doing it. But it's my understanding that that is our responsibility to do that. And that the department heads.
I think that's true when we do fund pooling, especially.
the fee pooling. But
The KRS I'm looking at, Judge, is 71.060. It's subsection 2.
71 what?
71.060, subsection 2. It says the jailer shall be responsible for the appointment and removal of jail personnel, and the jailer may dismiss the deputies at any time with cause. The number of jail personnel shall be set by the fiscal court in the jail budget. The fiscal court shall establish education requirements, and it goes on into some education stuff. The other reporting requirement is expenditures from jail, which is 441.225. And it just says the jailer shall submit in accordance with county payroll procedures, time reports, and other the jail personnel and employees to the treasurer or other designated payroll official.
I think we've complied with that because we did approve the position. We approved the budget, but this is a new position that's being created. Or it's not funded now.
Correct. And that's what I was asking for, is to move money from one line item to another, not asking for more money.
Is the maintenance salary, is it going to be over budget? It looks like it's going to be over budget. It's already used, I think, 80% as of the end of March. Or end of April. Will that be over, or will that come on? I guess that'll come in right on target, won't it?
I can't really answer why that number is the way it is. Their overtime should come out of the overtime budget line item and not out of their line item. So if you follow the secretaries, they stay almost exactly in line to where they should be, which is 72.78. And I see what you're saying about the maintenance staff is at 73.44. I'm looking at the end of March. I'm not sure exactly which one you have, but
I've got the end of April.
Yeah, I don't have that one yet. I'm sorry.
What we've got is, let's see, 81%.
What are the secretaries at on the one you have?
Secretaries are at 66, I think. Hold on. Secretaries are at 80. Maintenance at
That's
81.
That's about,
That's probably on target.
secretaries should be in line with on target.
So if this other maintenance employee retires, when he retires, will you fill that position, or are you in reality grooming this person to take over that position, or will you still need 3?
In reality, I'm looking at replacing him and leaving 2 is what my plans are. But I can't give you a date on when that is. I mean, I can't answer.
So when he retires, we'll go back to having 2 employees in maintenance.
That's my plan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's my plan.
So if he didn't retire for 2 or 3 years, we're going to have 3 employees for 2 or 3 years. It'll be beyond just a training period.
Yes, sir. But again, it's not wasted money at all. We're moving the money out of one item into another, but there is plenty of maintenance that needs to be done at the jail that has been delayed, put off, and just not done, to be frank with you, in past years. That is costing the county money in the end. I mean, if you come over and walk through our facility, you'll see the leaky roofs and leaking windows, and the building needs some maintenance. I mean, it just does.
Well, we've got those 2 statutes. I mean, it seemed like the thing to do is maybe find out if that gentleman who's eligible to retire is really going to anytime soon. The other is, I would like to, it seems like following the law is always a good rule of thumb, if not anything else. And so take a look at that once more. I think the answer is that the fiscal court is charged with the responsibility of approving hires and wages. But I see what your argument is, David, on that, and we'll take a look at that.
Couple of Attorney General opinions that seem to be right on point. I'll send them over to you, David. But I generally would lean toward being in favor of having a good maintenance crew, and but I believe it's the fiscal court that budget.
And I'm not disagreeing about the budget. It's the way I understood it. As long as I stay within the budget, then that's my responsibility, and the number of allotted personnel. Yeah, I don't disagree at all about the fiscal court setting the budget.
Under your theory, you could hire 4 secretaries to, if you didn't have enough deputies, had some extra, you could decide to hire 4 secretaries. And it's our job to make sure, that's their opinion right on point. It's our job to make sure you're not hiring excessive people. I don't think you're trying to hire excessive people. You're being logical about what you're doing, but I do think it is the fiscal court. But we've got a county attorney who'll probably look into that.
Sure. Right now, we're currently 8 people under our designated line item on deputies. So, and we hover around that area most of the time.
Thank you.
David, would it be possible to put together, if we discuss this further, would it be possible to put together a list of all the maintenance needs in the jail, and to justify having a 3rd person for some unknown period of time? How hard would that be? Or you probably already have a list of needs, I guess, don't you?
The big ones, yes, sir. I'll get with the maintenance staff and get you a complete list of, well, the best we can. There's a lot of unforeseen things that happen that,
Right.
If something goes out tomorrow, I can't give you, but yes, I'll give you a list.
Okay. I mean, again, if we're going to discuss it further, we need to just make sure we're doing due diligence in the need for the position. And I appreciate the fact you want to fill it before the other person retires, so you don't have somebody walk in the door who doesn't have any training in jail maintenance. So I appreciate what you're trying to do, but we just need to do due diligence and make sure that we need that third person for however long it's going to be till this one retires. What's the age of the person who is eligible?
Approximately 52, 53.
You tell him we want him to stay there as long as he can. We like him.
Oh, I've told him.
Any other discussion on that? All right. We'll get to work on that and see where we come up with. Let's see, we've got no old business for previously tabled items. Unless somebody knows of something. At court orders, Madam Clerk.
It is ordered to approve the April transient room tax in the amount of $221,840.57 to be dispersed as follows. Paducah CVB, $64,923.89. Convention Center, $44,164.13. Sports Tourism Commission, $67,562.31. And Escrow Fund, $45,190.24.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Treasurer, I noticed that the Sports Tourism Commission is getting about $2,000 more. Is that because of the one hotel in the county? Those numbers have been kind of running the same.
Yeah, I think there was some catch up that one of the hotels in the county was doing that made that check go up a little bit this time.
Okay, cool.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
no. That carries. Pete?
It is ordered that the treasurer is authorized to open a new bank account at Paducah Bank and Trust entitled Water Tower Project.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Appreciate your efforts, Judge.
Well, thank you. I bring you up to speed a little bit on that. I think that, in fact, I had an inquiry from the meeting just a minute ago. I believe that we have our design, or at least the design I like. I'll give it out to you gentlemen, let y'all look at it. I think it's a strong design. I believe that the mayor is on board with it. And because obviously the city owns the water tower. And so we want it for our canvas. Spoke with the mayor today. And so what we're going to do is decide first of all, make sure that the Paducah Water is on board with letting us put our design on the water tower. I think that if the city commission says yes, I believe that Paducah Water will say yes. If they say no, I've got two other backup plans. But hopefully we don't have to get to that. I think we're well on the way to getting it done. We've already unsolicited got a couple $1,000s that just come in the mail. So we need a place to park that money. And we'll know soon, can we do it? When can we do it? And what's the project going to cost? The major decision would be what's the size of the design. And there's also a question, do we want to paint it directly on the water tower? Or do we want to create a banner, a vinyl banner of some type that's similar to the sign that's up there now? And see what the costs are on that. But may start going ahead and soliciting donations now. Made it clear from the start, I think this will be paid for from public donations, and we will not need any taxpayer money for this. We're very little, particularly since people have, yes, some people who didn't take the time to read or can't read. Have learned now that it's not a project to be paid for with tax money, but it's we've got it to where it's to race only, and it's to African American and Caucasian race only, which is addresses the image that some people have of the Confederate flag being anti-black, anti-African American, and even in some people's minds, white supremacist. And so it has nothing to do with sex, has nothing to do with religion, has nothing to do with Asian or Hispanic race. It's black and white, that it's black and white. So we've gotten to that part now, I think, and we're ready to go. All right, C.
Judge, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Will that have the name of Paducah or McCracken County on it, or Paducah Waterworks? Will there be a name on it? Identify the community?
No, that's not part of the design. It's what I wanted to do, Mr. Wallman, was design it so that people traveling down that road, I-24 at 70, 75, 80 mile an hour, whatever, and at that far distance that water tower is, that they can, in the 2 or 3 seconds that they have to do that, absorb the message, and it's going to have to do with the American flag with the black and a white hand shaking. And so I believe that if we, for one thing, it's Paducah's water tower. The other thing, it's my or our idea to put the message on there to put also in letters big enough to read, welcome to Paducah and McCracken County. I think somewhat detracts from the ability to get the premier message, and that's the we're united here as far as supporting each other's race, as far as African American Caucasian.
Okay.
Any other discussion, Doc? C.
It is ordered to pay the McCracken County Clerk the fiscal court portion of the motor vehicle and boat accounts for the county. The Department of Revenue certifies that the total number of accounts as of January 1st, 2020 were 79,582.82 for McCracken County. The amount due the McCracken County Clerk is 15 cents per account for calculation and making the tax bills, or a total of $11,937.30.
So moved.
I think that.
I've got a question.
Yes. Yes.
The reality is we're paying this to ourselves, aren't we, since we have pooling funds? And that money goes into the clerk's budget, which goes into our budgets. Aren't we really paying ourselves?
That would be correct, but you have to do it this way because it's in the KRS that you must pay the county clerk.
Right. I just don't want people to think that the clerk is getting a check that she's, that doesn't go come back to the county. But I know it's just a bookkeeping thing. I think I ask that every year, but thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
Judge, did we actually vote on item B?
That was going to be my next question. I think we actually voted.
Oh, did we not? On B?
On B, we have a motion and a second.
Oh, okay. So back on the water tower project. Any other discussion on that? So all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right, sorry.
Now we're going to D.
Okay.
It is ordered to authorize the judge executive to execute an option and development agency agreement with GPED for approximately 7 acres owned by the county located on Bobo Road for economic development.
So made.
I'll second.
All right, discussion?
Yeah, I said, sent a couple of messages earlier. I've got a couple concerns. One of which is on page 1, section 1, the term. I thought it made sense to mirror the term of this option agreement to our annual commitment to GPED. And thought if we just simply put in the words, instead of for an initial period of 1 year following said day, just simply say, and shall continue until June 30th, 2021. And then that would allow it to always either be beginning or ending with July 1. The other more significant concern, and I'm not sure how to handle, is to do with section 4, and that's the option price, purchase price. And I may be reading this wrong, but it looks like if we signed this, GPED could go to its next meeting and decide to exercise this option for $1, and GPED could own this property and give us $1. And maybe I'm misreading it, but I don't think that's a, but I think that's what they could do.
Commissioner, I was looking at section 3.
Okay.
E, the purchase price for the owner property shall be a sum acceptable to the owner.
Section 3.
3E.
I don't see a 3. I see a 3.
I'm sorry, if you look at Article 2, Section 2.
Okay, 3E there.
Number 3, subsection E.
And that's on the listing agreement. But I guess I'm just under the option to purchase. On section 5, it says we're giving to them the exclusive right and privilege of purchasing it in accordance with the following terms: consideration $1, purchase price for the owner property subject to this option shall be a sum mutually agreed to by the developers. Well, that's GPED. And then GPED shall exercise the option by notifying the owner in writing of its intent to do so. I mean, I think what everybody's intending is that they won't exercise this option until they got a deal, and we'll all be happy.
When I was discussing it with Bruce, we collectively were the developers.
Well, the developers is defined as, let's see. Well, maybe you're right. Okay, I missed that. I thought GPED was the developer. All parties collectively referred to as developers. All right, well, let me reread that now. Mutually. All right, well, I was misreading it. I thought developers, I didn't realize developers meant 2 people.
Well, in that 3E, the purchase price for the owner property shall be a sum acceptable to the owner. Grant County is the owner.
Right. I guess I was just concerned that section 4, Judge, might be a kind of a standalone agreement within the agreement, that they would list it or they would have the option and they could just exercise the option irregardless of anything else.
Since we were the, when I discussed it with Bruce, since there are other properties that may need to be acquired for economic development, we didn't want to set the price based on our option. So this was the best GPAD's attorneys were able to do without us nailing down a price.
Well, and Frank, I was misreading the document. I was presuming developer meant GPED and GPED alone. So
So that satisfies your concern on the second item then?
but it certainly mitigates the concern. So now the option price is going to be something that we and GPED have to agree to. And I think that's probably okay.
Okay. I guess back then to the, you like the language, see, where'd you say that was on the, about the June 31?
Yeah, on section 1 under term.
Shall
If we-
continue for the initial term of this agreement shall commence on the effective date, shall continue for an initial period of 1 year following said date.
If we just change that so that it continues until June 30th of 2021. So they get a 14-month listing on the first term. And then after that, it continues unless we give 60 days notice to get out. Then it would continue annually after that.
Commissioner Jones, is your intent to run that in concurrent with the GPED agreement?
Yes. I don't anticipate, I mean, I think we're all much happier than we were 2 years ago, but in the event we became unhappy again, we'd want to be unhappy with both agreements at the same time.
The current agreement expires June 30th, doesn't it?
It does. But I guess I'm anticipating everybody's going to be happy extending that until another.
Okay.
Yeah, but I guess technically you're right, Bill. We haven't actually committed to 2021 yet, but I'm thinking we are all interested in doing that.
Eddie, are you good with it?
Yes.
You want to make that change to
Yes. So I'd want,
June 30th, 2021?
you want that in the form of I guess a motion to amend. So,
Yes, please.
all right, I'll move to amend section 1. Striking out in section 1, the first sentence, strike out the words for an initial period of 1 year following said day, and substituting therefore the words until June 30th, 2021.
I'll second it.
Need to vote on the amendment.
Any other? I see. That's a motion for amendment. There was a second. Okay. Any other discussion on that? All in favor of the amendment, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, that carries. And are we ready to vote on the document as a whole? Any
Yes.
other discussion on the document, on the agreement? All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, that carries.
It is ordered that the judge executive is authorized to release a payment in the amount of $220,000 of CDBG funds to Lotus, and to further authorize the release of all future payments to Lotus in a total amount not to exceed $360,000 as previously authorized in the grant agreement.
Let me interject that I had the word from Steve Irvin that 220 is an incorrect number. The order should be 290,000.
All right, with that change, I'll make the motion.
Okay, in a second.
Second.
Any discussion on that? No? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. That carries. Let's see, we also have an F and a G.
I was going to say, yes, we have two more.
All right. Where'd I do it?
It is ordered.
Did y'all get the F and G?
I got a question, Judge. Did we have to amend it first before we approved it?
No, it was just a typo.
So we don't have to correct it.
Now, I think the order is.
We're changing the order to read 290.
Yeah, there should have been 290 instead of 220.
I made my motion with that change, consistent with that edit.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then did you gentlemen get the additional corridors F and G?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Okay. It is ordered to purchase a 2020 Dodge 2500 Ram truck from David Taylor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for the road department through the state price contract at a cost of $29,948.
Motion. No motion.
You know, I'm gonna make a motion so we can get this for discussion. I've got something I want to say after we get a second.
Okay.
I'll give you a second just because I want to hear you talk.
Okay, so I was jumping up and down with talk to Steve Doolittle, and evidently they're having trouble buying. We approved 2 of these back. Steve, what month was it?
December 2nd of last year.
And they've not delivered on them yet. They were behind, and then the COVID-19 thing, their plant's been shut down. These guys are in desperate need of a truck. And I guess my only question, I may have asked it the other day, I don't remember. Are we buying? We've got an order in for 2 trucks we can't cancel. If we buy this one, what are we going to be buying? 3 trucks? Or we're going to somehow stay at 2? Or
I'm not even sure we're going to buy the 2 in this current fiscal year for which we budgeted them. But I figured at any rate, this would get us 1 truck. And then what it would amount to is there would be 1 less we would have to purchase next year if for some reason these 2 trucks are delivered before June 30th. And we just don't know, and they don't know what to tell us. Evidently, plant opens back up in late May, and then delivery takes a couple weeks. So provided these got built in early June, we might see them, but we're really not sure. So this truck came available in the area at state contract price. It had been ordered for another county, and they changed their mind about it. So that's the only reason it's available, is it hasn't, we weren't waiting for one to be ordered. It was just happened to be available. So I'm recommending we purchase this. We're within budget at the road department, and then we'll just plan for 1 less after July 1.
So can we cancel the other? Can we cancel one of the other 2?
I don't think we will, because we were on July 1. We certainly would have been planning to buy at least 1 truck in the upcoming budget. So they're just, I think, circumstances with how popular these trucks are to get under normal circumstances takes 3 months. Then the COVID situation hit, and it made it really difficult. So
we're going to buy 3 trucks instead of 2.
But 1 less next year.
so instead of next year, we're not going to buy 2, we're going to buy 1. So when
There you
next year's budget comes out, we'll be right.
Uh-oh.
Correct.
Was it scheduled to buy 2 next year?
Yes, that was in my next year plan.
I'll do this. I'll take a look and see if we can go ahead and approve this. I'll look at that contract. It might be, I don't know if that's just a form contract. A lot of times contracts will have a delivery date. Do you know offhand, Steve, if they have a delivery date?
It would be my expectation that if we canceled it, we could and someone else would snap it up. Because because they're hard to get, especially at that price.
And the local dealership doesn't want to sell us one at
They
that
don't
price?
have any to sell us.
This one is coming from a local dealership, isn't it?
It's from Benton. It's kind of local, not real local.
Well, that's better than Frankfurt or Louisville or Lexington.
In the county, it doesn't matter where it is.
Are you guys freezing up or is that just me?
I'm freezing up.
So,
Any other discussion on that? All
So,
in favor? I'm sorry, more discussion?
so we're buying it because it's on sale and we know we're going to need one eventually.
Essentially, yes. And we would have bought it on July, or we would have planned to have bought a truck after July 1.
So how many trucks how many trucks does the road department have now?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I thought that we had entered into the contract to purchase it in, what'd you say, July of December of last year, thinking that we would get it, 30, 60 days or something.
We were told approximately 8 weeks.
Okay. And so we authorized buying 2 in December, thinking we'd have them in 8 weeks. And here we are in May, still don't have them. So we're getting one truck that we should have had for a couple of months and filling that gap. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Opposed, no. That carries. G,
It is ordered to accept and record the audit of the McCracken County Fiscal Court for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019, which was fiscal year 18-19.
So made.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. That carries. Let's see, board appointments, no board appointments. Item 8, ordinances.
Okay, ordinance number 2020-03. This is an ordinance amending McCracken County Ordinance number 2019-12 by making an addition to the McCracken County Administrative Code pertaining to the provisions in the following area: take-home vehicle policy. Summary: the present action is required and mandated by KRS 67.710 and operates to amend the McCracken County Administrative Code within Chapter 5 entitled Policies and Procedures by creating a new section entitled Vehicle Take-Home Policy. The purpose of this amendment is to provide clear notification to county employees as well as to the citizens of McCracken County of the conditions precedent to the issuance of a county take-home vehicle and the requirements and prohibitions relating to its use in order to ensure the safety and responsible use of county resources in carrying out necessary county duties, and that all official use is in compliance with relevant federal, state, and local authorities. Certification: it is hereby certified by the McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points and contents of ordinance number 2020-03. Public inspection: a true and correct copy of ordinance number 2020-03 shall be made available for public inspection in its whole and complete form by the McCracken County Judge Exec's office. Any person desiring to inspect ordinance number 2020-03 shall contact the McCracken County Judge Executive's office via phone at 270-444-4707 to make arrangements for the transmission or delivery of the same.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, we, back on the consent agenda, we hired a Blake Manis, and he does live outside the county, and he is POP certified. I just want to make sure he fell underneath the grandfather clause that we had, that we approved the last meeting, since it was before we're approving the second reading of this ordinance.
The grandfather clause probably said something like those currently hired who live outside, but I'm not sure. And so it would not include this gentleman, but I can tell you that I recall in the, let's see, we got the sheriff on there. If he's POP certified and the sheriff likes him, and he lives within 5 miles, the other way to go about it is to, I can tell you that I would waive that as was authorized, I think, in this ordinance, that the judge executive has the authority to make an exception, I guess is what we said, and let him fall under the exception being only 5 miles outside the county and saving us the amount of money that it would. Or if we want to do it under the grandfather, I think we're probably going to need to, well, I guess we got the, is that ordinance from 2 weeks ago, first reading. Do we have the full ordinance in here that we can see?
Judge, the ordinance says that those employed on or before April 7th, 2020. So if this would have to be your approval unless we amend it to say whatever the hire date is.
Let's see, I see the ordinance, I'm not seeing the April 7.
It's under section 3, number 3. It's 3 under section 3 on page 3.
Oh, on page 3. 3.
So my printout might not be the same as yours.
They were, yeah, there it is. So they were employed on or before April 7th. That was the date of the last meeting. Huh? But anyway, he would have had to been employed before April, on or before April 7th. And if it's suitable to you, Mr. Parker and others, I'll just tell you, exercise that exception and we fall under that.
Do we need to change that date to May 15th?
You want to go back and amend the ordinance?
You have to republish if we amend.
I make a motion, we amend the grandfather date from April 7th to May 15th, 2020, which is the start date of the new employee.
Can you give me that section again that's in?
It's in section 3, number 3, under A. Number 3 is take-home vehicles, and it's under A, 3, and A under number 3.
And the start date will be?
It says they were employed on or before. The current version says April 7th. I'll move we amend that to May 15th, which is the start date of the new employee who lives outside the county.
Second.
All right, so any other discussion on amending the ordinance?
Before we go any further, who made the original motion on approving it? I'm sorry.
I did.
Commissioner
Thank
Barber.
you. And who's second?
I did.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on amending it to May? What was the amendment date you want to make?
May 15th, that's the
15th.
start date of the new deputy. Is that right, Sheriff?
Okay.
Shake your head.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So, all right, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. All right. That carries. Now we need to vote on whether we're going to hire the guy or not. I assume we are.
No, you need to approve the ordinance first.
Okay. We gotta approve, so it's going to be 3 steps. We amended the ordinance, now we're going to approve the ordinance, and then we're going to see if we're going to hire the guy. So
The gentleman's order for hire was on the consent agenda.
Oh, was it?
Yes. So
He's
we just
already
need,
hired.
All right, so he's already
yes.
hired. Okay.
I-
So is there a motion to approve the ordinance as amended?
So made.
We've already made that motion.
We've already made that. We
vote.
just need to approve it.
You just have to vote.
Okay, so I think I was out while you voted on your amendment. Y'all still there?
Yes. Do you want to vote on the amendment?
I would have voted yes, said I had.
Okay, good job.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're ready to
All
vote on the ordinance. We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, no. All right, that carries. Let's consider the next person that comes along not amending the ordinance, but doing what the ordinance is designed to do, is to give the authority to give an exception, not go back and amend the ordinance. Would be my thought, but anyway. Let's see, where are we? B?
Okay, we're in the next ordinance. You ready?
All right, yes, ma'am.
Okay. It is hereby ordered that pursuant KRS Chapter 67, the second reading and adoption of ordinance 2020-04 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. Commonwealth of Kentucky, McCracken County Fiscal Court, ordinance number 2020-04. An ordinance adopting the McCracken County Code of Ordinances submitted by the American Legal Publishing Corporation of Cincinnati, along with the 2020 S-1 supplement. Summary: the present action is required to adopt the codification by American Legal Publishing Corporation of Cincinnati, Ohio, and the 2020 supplement to all the Code of Ordinances of McCracken County, 2020 S-1 supplement of all McCracken County ordinances through 2018, with the supplement containing all ordinances of a general nature enacted since and prior supplement to the Code of Ordinances of this municipality. Sorry about that word. Certification. It is hereby certified by the McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points and contents of ordinance number 2020-4. Public inspection. A true and correct copy of ordinance number 2020-04 shall be made available for public inspection in its whole and complete form by the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office. Any person desiring to inspect ordinance number 2020-04 shall contact the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office via the phone at 270-444-4707 to make arrangements for transmission or delivery of the same.
So moved.
Second.
I heard Commissioner Ballman make the motion. Who's second?
I did.
Commissioner Jones. Yes.
Mr. Jones, second. All right. Any discussion on that?
I assume that those changes have been, and additions have been vetted to make sure they're accurate. I know that's what they're supposed to do. I don't know if do you review those, Steve, or? do we just send them to them? And
I didn't go through and read all of them.
I mean, I assume they're right, but
Well, I hope that they are. As far as I know, nobody's gone through and read each one of them to see if they are. It would be an undertaking.
I'm a little concerned Jeff Parker hadn't moved in about 3 minutes. For that matter, neither is Steve or David.
I'm good.
Oh, okay. David just moved. All right, I just want to make sure we all, I'm gonna vote yes. In case you lose me.
All right. No discussion. All in favor, aye.
aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. See?
Are we ready?
Yes,
It
ma'am.
is hereby ordered that pursuant KRS Chapter 67, the first reading of ordinance number 2020-05 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. Summary of bond ordinance and notice of adoption of bond ordinance. The McCracken County Fiscal Court at this meeting on May 11, 2020 gives first reading to the ordinance titled as follows. An ordinance of the County of McCracken, Kentucky, authorizing the issuance of its general obligation bond anticipation note series 2020N-1 in approximate principal amount of $600,000, approving a form of note authorizing designated officers to execute and deliver the note, authorizing and directing the filing of notice with the state local debt officer, providing for the payment and security of the note, creating a note payment fund, maintaining heretofore establishing sinking fund, authorizing acceptance of the proposal of the note purchaser of the purchase of the note, and repealing inconsistent ordinances. This ordinance sets forth general rules, regulations, and conditions of the issuance of a general obligation bond anticipation note by the County of McCracken, Kentucky. The county in an approximate aggregate principal amount of $600,000, the notes, for the purpose of financing all or a portion of the cost of the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping of 4 full-size portable court sports services totaling 37,632 square feet of portable recreational space for use at the Paducah McCracken County Convention Center located at 415 Park Avenue, Paducah, Kentucky. The project on an interim basis in anticipation of the fund's issuance of one or more series of the county's general obligation bonds and paying all or a portion of the cost of issuance of the notes. Provisions are made for the authorization and issuance of the notes, for the application of the proceeds of notes for the establishment of a note payment fund and maintenance of the previously established sinking fund, and for certain covenants of the county with respect to the notes. The notes are to be sold by means of a private negotiated sale pursuant to KRS 66.141. The notes pledge the full faith and credit of the county, and provision is made for the collection of a tax to pay the principal of and interest on the notes, subject to certain credits as provided in Section 10 of the ordinance. As required by KRS 83A.060, the appropriate portion of Section 10 of the ordinance is set forth as follows. Section 10, General Obligation. The note shall be a general obligation of the county, and for the payment of the note and the interest thereof, the full faith, credit, and revenue of the county is hereby pledged for the prompt payment thereof. During the period of the note is outstanding, there shall be, and there hereby is levied on all the taxable property in the county, in addition to all other taxes without limitation as to rate, a direct tax annually in an amount sufficient to pay the principal of and the interest on the note when and as due. It being hereby found and determined that the current tax rates are within all applicable limitations, the tax shall be and is hereby ordered computed, certified, levied, and extended upon the tax duplicate and collected by the same officers in the same manner and at the same time that the taxes for general purposes for each of the years are certified, extended, and collected. The tax shall be placed before and in preference of all other items and for the full amount thereof provided. However, that in each year to the extent that the other lawfully available funds of the county are available for the payment of the note and are appropriated for such purpose, the amount of such direct tax upon all of the taxable property in the county shall be reduced by the amount of such other funds so available and appropriated. Reference is hereby made to the full text of the ordinance, a copy of which is on file at the offices of the Judge Executive for a complete statement of its provisions and terms. The undersigned attorney at law licensed to practice in Kentucky hereby certifies that the foregoing title summary of an ordinance of the County of McCracken, Kentucky was prepared by the undersigned and constitutes a general summary of essentials provisions of said ordinance. Reference to the full text of which ordinance is hereby made for a complete statement of its provisions and terms. Mark S. Franklin, Dinsmore and Shaw LLP, 50 East River Center Boulevard, Suite 1150, Covington, Kentucky 41011.
Madam Clerk, we weren't able to hear you. Would you repeat that?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, there it is.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Jones, second.
Steve, can you explain this to us? This will be paid with the transient room tax, is that correct? Or are we establishing a special tax to pay it?
So you heard a lot of language about that goes with general obligation notes, and general obligation notes say just that you will levy a tax to pay for it. But because the opinion of the attorney was to make this as a general obligation. But what this actually is a bond anticipation note, which means for the sports surfaces that are going at the expo, the Sports Tourism Commission is entering into an agreement to purchase with Connor Sports floors that total approximately $560,000. The bond anticipation note will be a short-term loan where the interest will be capitalized, and this note is only good for 2 years. In 2 years from now or less, we are anticipating the ultimate plan for the project we call the soccer fields will take this note out with a bigger note, financing with the county using sports tourism transient room tax dollars, if that makes sense. So in the interim, between now and when they go into planning, we will have to enter into, at a future time, before we take this note out, an interlocal agreement with the Sports Tourism Commission to use the transient room taxes to pay for ultimately this and the soccer fields. But this provides short-term financing to order the floors. My understanding is that upon ordering, we should see the playable surfaces start to show up. And nod your head, Steve. Was it 90 days or 120 days? He's muted, but he's shaking his head. So it's between 90 and 120.
I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, Steve Irvin's who we're talking about.
Okay, we got too many Steves in the
Steve, three Steves in the meeting.
Did I miss a second? Did somebody second the motion?
No, we need a second.
For a second, we went right to the discussion. No second?
Jeff, are you there?
I'm gonna second it. I was waiting to hear the explanation on who was gonna pay for it. As long as it's coming out of sports tourism money, I'm good with it.
I would ask that we withhold approval of the second reading until we have the agreement with the Sports Tourism Commission to ensure that that the tax funds from the transient room tax will pay every penny of the cost of this. Am I correct in that they will pay every penny of the cost of this bond?
Yeah, we won't be able to purchase the floors at this time, then.
We can't mess around with this language in this.
I think we could probably go ahead. I mean, Bill, if they mess us up on this, we don't have to approve the bigger thing down the road. I mean, we're kind of in the driver's seat, I guess.
Can we get an interlocal agreement approved to us by next meeting?
Possibly. But
How much is that gonna hurt putting off 2 more weeks though on getting those floors in on the fall, the basketball and volleyball season?
well, we actually do have some time because this second reading on this isn't scheduled until the 29th of this month. So it's possible we could.
So there's Commissioner Jones, another project on interlocal agreement.
Thanks for the assignment.
So what's the proposal then, that we get an interlocal agreement to do what?
It sounds like what we're wanting to do is make sure that the Sports Tourism Commission doesn't leave us holding the bag of the payment and move on to their next project saying, great, the county did this. That am I stating the concern right, Bill?
That's my concern. I mean, I trust them, but I would like to have that agreement approved by them and ready for our approval before we approve the bond. I don't want anything to happen that would cause us to have to use our general revenue funds to pay the bond or any cost associated with it.
Yeah.
Well, we have a group of, I think, very reputable people that are putting a lot of work in and volunteering their time on this. I understand you say you trust them, but just frankly, when you say you trust somebody, but by God, you don't trust them anymore. We can't mess around with the language in this thing. There's been a lot of work gone into this. I become frustrated when we put the work into this. We have people who are volunteering who are got children of their own looking toward using these facilities. It's our way we found to get it done, but we want them to sign off on something saying that they won't leave us holding the bag. If you want to do that, we can vote on doing that, but I think
I don't mind voting on the first reading, but before we approve the second reading, I'd like us to have that agreement in hand.
Well, I understand that's what you'd like. All right. Any other discussion on it? So are you making a motion to, so you're just opposed to the first reading of this, or what exactly is it?
I think we're good with the first reading.
All right, so any other discussion on the first reading then? All right, so all in favor of going forward, this is the first reading?
Aye.
All right.
None opposed. All right, so this is the first reading. Or you
Steve, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What's the prospects of when will they be able to begin hosting volleyball tournaments with the lockdown? I mean, even if we have them in 3 months, are they going to be ready before the end of the year to be able to do those?
So prior to or during the early part of the planning for the floors, there was high confidence that if we could get floors in by this fall, they could start having events this fall, volleyball and basketball. The floors themselves are striped for, will be striped for 4 full-size basketball courts and 8 volleyball courts.
But what's the coronavirus issue going to do with that? Is there been any speculation of when they could hold events like that again?
No, I did speak to Michelle last week about that, and with knowing that the answer was going to be nobody knows.
Okay. I'm not suggesting that we hold off in doing this, but I just was curious as to what the speculation was.
So anything else we need to do as to this? As to the sports commission, the interlocal agreement or anything of that nature? No?
I think this,
Were you asking me a question?
Well, you said you'd like to see an interlocal agreement into this, or you still wanting to draw up an interlocal agreement with the Sports Tourism Commission to hold them to do what they're supposed to do?
Steve, I mean, what's the harm if we hold it up till we have the agreement? We'd have that within a month, wouldn't we?
What I discussed with the board at the time was that basically the bond anticipation note kicks all the financing down the road for up to 2 years. And that when the planning and the bidding was going on for the soccer fields, that we would combine it all into one general obligation note, and we would have an interlocal agreement at that time to direct the transit room taxes into the general obligation note for payment, because we're not paying at this time. Nobody is. It's going to sit fallow for this gives us 2 years to make a decision on financing. So at some point, yes, there has to be an interlocal agreement. I guess we could have 2 interlocal agreements, one for the short term and then one for the longer, bigger term when the soccer fields go up to bid.
So you're saying there will be no payments for 2 years, not even interest?
Not even interest. We're going to capitalize the interest because interest is low right now.
Yeah, I don't know that I haven't looked to see what we paid for our other interlocal agreement, but my hunch is these interlocal agreements are about, I don't charge anything, but I'm guessing the attorney fees involved with the last one we did was about $25,000. So
25,000?
Oh, every bit of, yes.
So I would forego. I think that this is low enough, and there's enough of a culture commitment. And if they don't do what they're supposed to do, we won't put them back on the board.
Can't we just have a 1-paragraph agreement that they'll agree to pay? I mean, it's not that complicated on this one. All right.
Well, yeah.
Well, I had anticipated the one big complicated agreement that contemplates the funding for this floor and the soccer fields.
Can we just get a letter of understanding from them saying that, thank you for approving this bond issue. We will agree to cover the bond costs. And maybe I'm chasing a rabbit we don't need to chase. I don't know.
I think you are. I don't think there is a rabbit.
Well, if we're gonna capitalize the interest at the end, I mean, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, we don't have to issue another bond at the end. I mean, we don't have to go borrow all the millions of dollars to build a soccer field, like Eddie said. We'll just replace.
Then we're gonna have to pay off a $700,000 debt from the bond and the interest.
I don't know, gentlemen. I guess I'm not a wartime concierge. I just think that we're all on board in this thing. We're all joined at the hip and the hand and everything else. And we've got people that are doing a hell of a lot of work for us at no cost because they believe in it and they're helping us. And if I were one of them, I guess I would be concerned that I needed to be held in check and sign off on something that says I'm going to do what I agreed to do. But y'all feel differently. We could talk about doing something else.
I think we have a number of remedies available to us if we all know what's going to happen, and given the amount and given the interest in getting this equipment purchased, I think we're okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Do we have anything for executive session?
Judge, I do have a motion.
Oh, okay.
I would like to, this is our regular meeting, I'd like to move that we approve a 2020 fiscal year contribution in the amount of $75,000 for the McCracken County Community Scholarship Program to be paid to the Paducah Junior College with the designation for the McCracken County Community Scholarship Program.
I would like to second that.
What, I didn't catch what amount you said.
75,000.
Okay. All right. Got a motion, a second discussion.
Commissioner Parker and I think maybe Arlen, Judge, you've been we've all been part of this discussion. We initially thought we would make $125,000 commitment, which is the typical annual commitment that we make. But we met with Dr. Reese and they agreed, given our state of affairs, that they could live with 75,000, or the fund could live with 75,000. I think there was some discussion with the library as to whether they could tap into their sources, and they've decided that they are not legally allowed to do that. I appreciate the college administration understanding our situation, but I do think it's important that we maintain our status as an anchor donor to this program. It's one of the things and benefits that raising your kids in McCracken County gets you, something that doesn't get you hardly anywhere else in the nation or the world. And that's is your child can go to college for free. I want us to maintain our program in that. I think it's important to do that. I think it's one of the most effective things we do for economic development is to help make sure that if a child wants this opportunity, they can do it. And if they do this opportunity, then we have improved our labor force. I think our failure to keep our commitment to this program could shake the confidence of the program and the confidence of the other donors to the program.
I think it's probably one of the best economic development tools we have also, and that it's one of the best ways to keep kids here locally and hopefully put them into our local economy. And going back to when this first started and doing some research, it was the county played a big role. It was a county city initiative to get this started. So, you know, we've been backing this for a long time, and I don't think now's the time to sway away from it.
I agree with that. I think we tried to find alternative methods of funding, and I appreciate the meetings we've had with the college leaders, and they helped explain some of the concerns that we might have had. And I think it's a good program. It does help keep kids in the county and help keep kids in our local schools, and helps maybe be a motivation for some students to maybe do a little bit better in middle school and high school. And I agree with that amount. We'll take a look at it again in our next budget to see if we can maybe up that a little bit.
You know, there's some performance criteria there too that are a part of it that is a big thing as well. They have, I forget what, they have to maintain a certain grade point average to get that money. They have to be residents of Clerk County. And so I'm thinking if my child's going to West Kentucky Community Tech College and he or she starts to fall below that grade point average, it's going to get in my pocketbook. I'm going to get my foot where it needs to be and make sure that it gets studying and get that done too. So there's another aspect. So any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It carries. I don't know of anything else we have. Anybody have anything else?
Great economic news today on getting somebody in the Genova plant. So, kudos and hats off to everybody that worked on that.
No. Okay. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So make.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.